Welcome to Todoist Household Management with the Little One Collective. With work, commuting, and sleep, we are only left with about 60% of our time to do everything else. And while 60% sounds like a lot, once you jump into it with managing a household and a family, it goes by in a blink of an eye and we just feel overwhelmed. So join me as we ditch rewriting daily to-do lists and let Todoist do the heavy lifting, starting with laundry. When I walk into a room, my mind is on high alert, looking for the next to-do to complete. In theory, this has always felt very productive as I'm always getting something done. But when I took a step back and looked at it all, I noticed a pattern. While on high alert, I would see laundry piling up, and to get ahead of things, I would start a load of laundry. And while in theory this is great, in a few days that pile of laundry would be right back there. And I would do the cycle all over again on repeat. This way of prioritizing to-dos based on what I visibly needed to get done had a few problems. Mainly, I was constantly thinking of to-dos and never giving myself time to relax. All well, I wasn't prioritizing the most important to-dos, so I was always feeling behind. For example, I only truly need to do a load of my kids' laundry weekly, but because I was seeing it pile up and I didn't have a recurring to-do list, I was really doing it twice weekly because I just felt like it was time to do laundry. So what do? We create a recurring schedule and to-do list, removing the to-do list creation from our brain. This way, we'll be able to see all of our to-dos, prioritize the most important tasks, and complete them only when it's needed. So let's get started. I'm going to hop over to Todoist and follow along with me. Now that we are in a fresh Todoist account, we are ready to get started. We're going to start with the free version of Todoist since we are only going to have one project and just get it going. But as we mature and add more to-dos, I do find the paid version of Todoist is hugely beneficial. It costs $48 for the year when I am recording this, and it has just a load of features. Let's get started though. You can see on the left-hand navigation. Great, now that we are in a blank state of to-do, we are ready to get started. Now, I'm going to start with a brand new Todoist account that is the free version. Right now, we're only going to have one project and one filter, so free is all we need. But I do find as I'm adding more projects and more to-dos, the paid version is very beneficial. It is $48 for the year as of the recording of this video. And you'll just see you will get more features when you upgrade to the paid, but you also get more projects, more filters, and we need those when we are trying to make this our entire brain and get it out of our heads. Let's get started. Now, if you're new to Todoist, I am going to link some how-to videos below that may be helpful for you. It is a very intuitive piece of software, but we all need help sometimes. So find those below and let's jump in. The first thing we're going to do is create a project. I'm going to go over to My Projects and click the plus icon to create a project. And I'm going to name it Laundry since I know I'm going to break down my projects pretty far because I find it helpful to organize. Now, if you're going to stick with the free version of Todoist, you might want to make larger categories just because you're not going to have as many projects. And I always like to assign a color that feels right for the category. This is very subjective, so we'll go with blue for, or teal for laundry, and I will click add. Now I have my new project right here, and you can see I'm in the project by seeing laundry at the top. And I'm going to drag and drop my Todoist template. I have this linked below as well. This is an easy shortcut to load everything I could think of laundry-wise, plus descriptions and recurring to-dos in one go. Now, if you do not want to purchase the template, that is okay too. You need to do two steps really. The first is write out everything that needs to have laundry done. And when I say everything, I mean everything. And I actually want you to break it down a little bit. So it might seem too broken down for you. And if that is the case, just take it up a level. But the reason I have things broken down to the level of a kitchen towel, or if I scroll all the way down to my miscellaneous section, I have things like bibs, high chair covers, bouncer, swing set inserts. The reason I have it broken down to that level is because those are the things we normally miss. Because when you're doing laundry, you're thinking of things that are in laundry bins, but your high chair straps are never going to be in your laundry bins. So if you are going the manual route, that's what you're going to do. You're going to write down everything and you're going to start to build a recurrence. How often are you going to do these things? And not only how often are you going to do them, when. I like doing things on the same day every week because it starts to become an ingrained habit. So if I'm always washing my towels on a Saturday, that is the day I just know I'm going to wash my towels. And after a while, that's just going to become second nature, very predictable. And it also makes it easy to prioritize. So do those things and load them in here. Now, if you have the template and you've just loaded your template, you're ready to customize. And you can do this in just a few simple steps. I like to start with looking at the sections and what's below it. So for example, if you don't have an upstairs and a downstairs, maybe you want to delete this upstairs category. You just go to the menu here and click delete. Same with below, I have listed a primary bedroom, bedroom 1, bedroom 2, etc. If you don't have this many bedrooms, you can just go ahead and delete those sections. I have it there for ease of use for you, but again, if it doesn't fit you, go ahead and delete it. Once you're done with deleting the sections, we'll move on to the to-dos. So within a section, if there's a to-do that you're like, that doesn't quite fit me, maybe for example, in your bedrooms, you only have blinds or you never want to wash your curtains, you can go ahead and delete that to do. I don't have it set where I'm actually washing my curtains ever right now, but I'm leaving it on my Todoist because maybe I decide that I have time in the future and I'll add it in. And so instead of going back and adding it in the future, I'm just leaving it there without a to-do date right now. But you can certainly delete it, and it's very similar to sections. You go to the right-hand side and you delete. So pause the video and take a moment to just delete and remove things that you don't need. Once that's done, we just have a few simple steps and then you're ready to go. Once you've removed things you don't need, if there is anything, walk around your house, look for everything. If there is anything that is not on this list that does need to be done in your household, go ahead and add it. An easy way to add a new to-do item would be copy the template I have. So you can go to one that's already set up and you can duplicate. And when you duplicate, you can see there's two here, and then you can open it and you're going to see the template that I have. How I have this laid out is I have an emoji, and then I have what I'm doing, washing, and then I'm washing what. So I list that out here. I like to list the location and then the what, just so that if there's multiple things like multiple bedrooms, I know which sheets and pillows I'm washing, because in my household, washing the sheets and pillowcases actually takes a long time, making the beds, removing everything. And so I'm probably not going to do all 4 bedrooms in one day. I also have a current recurrence and a recommended recurrence. The reason I have these two is because when I look at the recommended by experts laundry and household maintenance and everything else, it plainly does not fit into a schedule to actually get done and not be overwhelmed. And so I like knowing what their recommendation was, but I'm realistic and I write down what is my current recurrence. So right now my kids are young and I don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to do things less often. But as things change, maybe I feel like, hey, these sheets and pillowcases need to be washed more, or maybe the towels need to be washed more. Whatever it is, I could look at what is the recommended recurrence, and I don't have to relook that up. that is here. The next thing I have in the to-do template is the definition of done. And this might seem basic and you might say, why would I need this in here? But have you ever had someone try to help you and then they ask you a ton of questions? The purpose of the definition of done is one, so you know for sure, like, yes, I am checking it off and being done. But two, if someone goes to help you, they kind of just have a guide of what is this even? I think laundry is one of the more straightforward ones, but this is in all of our to-dos. So as we expand to other areas of the household, it's there as well. So people can just jump in and help, especially like think of when you were postpartum and just had a child, or something major has happened in your life, hopefully a positive event, and you needed some help. This helps give people guidance without asking you. Lastly, there's all these different fields, and I like to use two of them. The due date, which is pretty simple. If you do have the template in the instructions, there is a simple guide to how to set reoccurring due dates. I like to use the plain text. This one's set to every 2 weeks, and I have it on Saturdays. So if I wanted to reset this, I would just say every 2 weeks, starting, and I'm recording on January 12th, so this would be January 13th, and then it would put in that due date. It's a very simple way to set it. You can also click here and change the due dates. So if you're creating your own to-do, you want to do those few things. Next, priority. I like to set priority, so if I'm scanning and I am overwhelmed, things that are set to priority 2 or 3 are probably not going to get done. This is just an easy indication to me. What is the priority of the to-do? And then lastly, I label everything. And you'll see later, this is an optional thing. I label it in 4 different categories. Things I'm going to do around the house, like laundry. Things I'm going to do on my computer, pay bills. Outside, mow the grass. And non-home. So do I need to run an errand and return something at the store? This helps me when I create filters, group like things together so that I can be as productive as can be. When I sit down at the computer and look to see what I need to get done where I'm there, I can just get things done on the computer without bouncing between things that need to get done in different places. So if you're adding your to-dos, like I said, I recommend copying one of my templates and then just changing it and updating it to fit you. As I mentioned, pause this video along the way, and as you complete the steps, come back. So once you've added all the to-dos that you need in here, the last thing I would recommend is to personalize this is changing the names. I've named things very generically like bedroom 2, but maybe this is your daughter's bedroom whose name is Sarah's. So you can name it Sarah's bedroom, and then you could simply go into each task and rename these so that instead of bedroom 2, it's Sarah's bedroom. This seems small, but as you're working through, it does feel more personable to have those names instead of bedroom 1, bedroom 2. And if someone was just to pick up your to-do list tomorrow, they might look at you and say, what is bedroom 2? So this makes this much simpler. And now you've got your full list together and personalized for you. You may be thinking, all of these already have set due dates. And yes, if you're using my template, I have already set an occurrence and schedule, keeping in mind what I think works for me. I do work from home, so I'm able to do a few loads of laundry during the week, and I like to do laundry continuously. If that does not work for you, you can go into each one, either by going into each to do or multi-selecting to set due dates. And so you can even type here every 2 weeks, starting Jan 13th. So you can do multiple at once and it will change all of the due dates, or you can go into each one where I showed you the to-do date and change it there. Now, because there's so many to-dos, it may seem daunting to go through and update the due dates all at once. You can also just start using it, and as you encounter to-dos that don't fit into the day that they're currently scheduled to, you can change them. The last thing before we move on to some optional items and just get started is some to-dos may be in the past. Like you can see this one's January 2nd. And that is because they are set based on when I created the template. And how to get it into the future is just you simply mark them off so that it goes to the next reoccurrence. So you can just go to the list, and it's also kind of satisfying just checking things off and check off all of the things so it goes to the next occurrence. Now that you have things all set, you can start using it. And there's a few optional things that I think make it easier, but really, if you wanted to go into the static Todoist categories, today and upcoming, you're going to see a to-do list. And you can just start working down it, get things done, and move on to the next one. Now, I recommend, as we're adding in to-do lists and different sections, laundry, vehicles, bathrooms, kitchen, starting step by step. So we're adding in laundry right now, but sit with this for a while. Use the reoccurrence for about 3 weeks, maybe a month, to see if it fits you and tweak it as you go. If you feel you're doing too much laundry, decide what items you can do less frequently. If you are feeling like you're doing way too much on a Friday or a Saturday, can you change all those items to a different day in the week? So these 3 weeks to 1 month help you tweak your schedule so that it feels right to you. And if you're still overwhelmed, it means it still needs adjusting. But if you're feeling good after those 3 weeks to a month, you can head over. I'll have subsequent videos and templates to help you add in the next stage. The next one is all about our vehicles, and it's one that I think actually takes a lot off my mind thinking about when licenses and registration are due. So you're ready to get going. An optional extra step you can take is creating an easy filter to see them. So maybe you do just want to see everything that's due today. The one thing about this is it can get long and everything's together. So I mentioned I like to break it apart by what I have to do in the home and what I do on the computer. And how I do that is with labels and filters. If I click on the label and filter section in the left-hand side, I now can manage those. When you upload one of my templates, you're going to see them uploaded right here of the shared labels that come with the template. As I mentioned earlier, there's those 4 categories. To leverage them, you just need to create a filter. So I clicked on filters and labels, and then under filters, I'll click the plus. I like to have an in-home filter so that I can look at everything I need to do in the house. And I have in the instructions this already written out, but essentially I like to see overdue today and tomorrow. The reason I like to see that is because then if I look at today's list and tomorrow's list and it looks like too much, I can start crossing things off or rescheduling things. If I look at tomorrow's and tomorrow looks really busy, but today I'm actually feeling pretty good, maybe I'll work ahead and do some of tomorrow's. So essentially these show which duration you're gonna have. Are you gonna just see today's, or are you just gonna see tomorrow's? And then this is our label, chore and home. So anything tagged with that label will display on this list. You can add a color. And lastly, I do add it to my favorites. So I'm gonna click add. And now you can see under favorites, I see that in-home filter. So as we add vehicle, bathroom, all the other things to the list, you're only going to see under this filter the things that are done around the house. You're not going to see the things you need the computer errands to run, which I find very beneficial. So optional to add, but I find very beneficial to use and work down the list. Lastly, what I like to do is I downloaded Todoist on my phone and created a widget with this filter so that as I'm walking around the house, I have things filtered to in home and I can just check them off. So as I'm walking around and I'm cleaning things, I can just check them off as I go. Again, that's another optional step, but I find hugely beneficial. Was a quick tutorial on how to upload that template. I hope you found it beneficial. If you're interested in this or any of the categories that are about to come, make sure you hit that subscribe.